All right, could the Pistons potentially get Colin Sexton? This would be interesting. Craig, what are
Interesting
you
as a word.
hearing on how we get him? And let's start with that. How would we even acquire him?
Yeah. So there's two ways in which you can acquire a guy like Colin Sexton. He's a restricted free agent, right? So you can either put an offer in. If he accepts it, the Cavs have 3 days to match it. We've seen, and I said this in another video too, we've seen Troy Weaver as a guy who likes trades more than free agency because he said free agency can be tricky. And I think what he means by free agency can be tricky is this scenario and bidding against everybody else. So you have an unrestricted free agent, you got to bid a ton. Restricted free agent, you have to sit there. You can't be making offers to a bunch of other people because you don't know what's going to happen and if the team's going to match. They have 3 days. Like there's all
Right.
this stuff going on. It's tricky. So I think your best way to get Colin Sexton is a sign and trade. I really do. And I'd be very interested to see if Jerami Grant ends up being a guy who we trade away in a sign and trade. And one of those potential positions are with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think a trade would look something like this: Jerami Grant for Colin Sexton and the number 14 overall pick. So the Cavaliers get what they are desperate for, which is a guy that can defend wings, right? Because right now they have like 3 power forwards and a center, and they don't have, I mean, they have guys in there, but they don't have anybody like Jerami Grant. They
Mhm.
don't. A guy who can be a really good threat offensively, a floor spacer and a defensive stopper. They don't have that. So I think Jerami Grant could be extremely helpful for them. Sexton can be helpful for us, but we also get the 14th pick to go in there
Okay.
as well.
So so with that, then, when you see this, do you think, yeah, I kind of like that, or not so sure just yet?
Yeah, it's oh, I I like it. I just don't know if I love it. So can I talk about what I like at first?
Yeah.
He's a serious scoring threat. I think that he can take a lot of the pressure off Cade, and you need to have a secondary creator. We talk about how the NBA is not going to work when you just have one guy that is the entire offense revolves around him, right? Like you can't do it. Cade is close. I think he's one of those guys that can be close. But you need to have secondary creators off of that can create their own shot. We got the number 5 pick. I think there's guys, if Ivy falls to us, he could absolutely be a secondary creator. 100% create his own shot. Maybe Sharp. I don't know. I don't love his burst. But like then after that, like Keegan Murray, he's not creating his own shot at
Right.
this point. Benedict Matherin's not. So Colin Sexton could fill that void of the secondary creator. He averaged 24.3 points per game. That's not a small amount in 2021 before tearing his meniscus last year. 4.5 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal. And his shooting percentages weren't bad either for a guy with shooting at that volume and at that size. So those are the things that I like about Colin Sexton.
And I think you have to like, yeah, because we're desperate for someone that can shoot the basketball. It'd be so nice. You talking about a creator, which is nice, but you said it there. His shooting was just good enough where it's like that'll be okay. Like he doesn't have a terrible percentage from three, but some of us are like, man, I just want that guy that can shoot from three. That'd be great. Have K do enough to get that, where Sexton is more of a creator, but if you could have another creator next to Cade, it's
Mhm.
just exciting. That's what we just keep talking about. You put anybody next to Cade, whether you're a shooter, whether you're a spot up shooter, whether you are a creator, and it's just like it will work. It will
Yeah.
work, but we need more juice, and that he gives us that kind of right away.
Well, and here's the problem in Cleveland. Because a lot of people are going to be sitting here being like, no, I don't want Sexton. Here's the problem in Cleveland. You have Garland and Sexton lining up next to each other. And if you go out with 2 guards that are 6'1", how's that going to go for you on the defensive end?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not going to work. And Colin Sexton, in a real way, is an undersized 2 guard. I mean, like, can he play point? Of course he can play point, but I think he's a better 2 guard. I really do. So it's like one of those things where, okay, Let him play the 2, and Cade's your point. Cade's sitting at 6'6", 6'7". He
Mm,
can guard the opposing 2. Sexton will guard the 1. Like, it doesn't hurt you as bad defensively. He's a decent on-ball defender. He has absolute lapses and struggles off the ball. I think that's something that can be coached, for sure, especially if he's not taking like a huge load offensively, because Cade's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. I don't see it being a bad fit. And we talk about how anybody can fit with Cade. And I'm not saying Sexton's the perfect fit, because he's not.
right.
But he's not a bad fit. And I also would say this: I'd be interested to see what he looks like when somebody else is helping create open shots for him. I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to see what kind of I haven't looked into his catch and shoot numbers. A lot of that 37% from 3 was him creating his own shot. What does that look like when he's got more stop and pop?
Yeah.
I mean, like catch and shoot situations. And quite frankly, they're saying that his camp is in the 18 to 22 million. Some people say that's an overpay. It just replaces Jeremy Grant's salary, and we move on.
Yeah, and I would like to get a play. Sometimes I think about it. It's like, man, I'd like to get a player for Jeremy Grant versus the pick. Like a Trailblazers pick. I'd love
Yeah.
to have an opportunity to get a real proven player. But then I go back and forth on that as well. But this would give us yeah. You trade Grant, you now are getting a proven player we've seen in the league for a few years. Let's go. Versus, all right, we're going to now take, Mathran or whoever, somebody at 7 that we don't know what that potential is, Murray, whatever. And it's like, I kind of like the idea of taking Grant and actually getting a player back in return that we know what they can do.
And I haven't researched this. I don't know how quick you are, and if you can research while I'm talking about it. How many players out there averaging more than 24 points a game?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's not like you can just draft a player and they're averaging 24 points a game. And it's just like, I mean, like it's rare to have that kind of a scoring presence. I think if you put him next to Cade in our offense with Sadiq and whoever we'd take at 5, probably Keegan Murray in this situation, if we're trading
Yep.
Jeremy Grant, like, I think that his average probably isn't 24. It's probably more in the 20, 21, 22 range. But still, like, I think people undervalue how important it is to have 2 guys that you can put the ball in their hands, and go get a bucket.
Yep.
It's important.
And
So,
so I'm looking up the stat. Yeah,
you
he's
did it?
I'm trying to count and then it's refreshing. It's just a
It's a
mess.
nightmare.
So I can't get it. But he's in like top 20. So it's like
Yeah.
he's a top 20 scorer. I mean,
Yeah.
so
So, and you would assume that Cade makes that next jump into that similar range next year, just by getting to the line more, maybe shooting 5% better on his on his 3-pointers. Like, you would think that Cade's going to get there. So if you have 2 guys that are top 30 scorers on your team, that's a good recipe. That's all I'm saying. And I know you lose a little bit defensively with Sexton, with some people that argue that you lose a lot defensively, but just remember who was playing next to Cade starting last year. It was Corey Joseph, not a defensive juggernaut.
go get a bucket. Yes.
That's
No,
all I'm saying. Like,
just
he's not a juggernaut. At least Colin Sexton is very good on one side of the ball.
yeah, dude. You like, thank you. Take it. And yeah, the thought of Cade up in his points per game a little bit, add Sexton. I don't think that's terrible. So let us know in the
No, it's not.
comments what you think of this opportunity to get Sexton, or should we pursue him? Let us know in the comments, and if there's anything else that we're missing when it comes to Colin Sexton. And also subscribe. We make videos on the
Do it.
Pistons and the Lions. And with that, Craig, you got anything else?
No, I feel real good.
Okay, I kind of like cut it, and then I'm like, oh shoot, we were kind of talking. So
No. I feel
okay, all
good.
right,
I feel good. It's just I do this video, and all of a sudden now I'm more excited about Colin Sexton. I
I
almost
know.
talked myself into it. Maybe I need to do another video in a couple weeks and see if I'm still on that train.
Yeah, because this doesn't seem terrible, and I never thought it was terrible, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like I'll
But
take
I
that
know
all
there's a
day.
lot of Colin Sexton haters out there. If you are, comment why. But if you think you'd be a good fit, comment why too.
Yep.
Like, I think people underestimate like just how powerful having Cade Cunningham is, and what you can get away with in the backcourt next to him because he is who he is.
Yep. No,
All
it's
right.
good. I love it. Subscribe, and we will see all of you on the next one.